Okay. For the love of God. It should be live.
Oh, I think it's live on fucking Warzone Amateur Hour Podcast fucking YouTube. Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
You're looking at it? All right. Everyone. Holy shit. Thank you all for your patience here. How do we share here? Okay, we're going to share on Twitter right now. Thank
Oh
God
shit.
in heaven. All right. Well, we'll see if we get call-ins. We'll see if anyone's still out there after these insane hiccups we've had there. But that said, we are back. We are getting into it. If you missed the beginning, you'll have to listen on Monday. We talked about some titanium trials, so we are just going to move along now. A sweat beating off of Tron's forehead. We apologize for these hiccups, but it's Friday night, so if you are out there live, you are joining us. Thank you for being here. Cheers to you, our Warzone Amateur Hour community. This is fucking episode 90. 90 episodes deep. The reason is because of you, our loyal listeners, and in part a little bit because of the cowboy as well.
Wow, leaving me at that. Did I hear a beer crack? Was that a live beer crack that I just heard?
Yes, it was, my friend.
Wow, what kind of beer are you drinking these days? Is
This
it a
is
spritzer?
a Stone Delicious IPA, but we're not going to get into that. This is a Warzone podcast.
Well, I mean, I like to, beer is good. I'm sure that people that play the game and listen to us like listening to beer or drinking beer. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm drinking the old friendly Modelo right now myself. Had a few of them on the ranch watching the sunset with the cowgirl. But yes, do we want to go back into what we were originally talking about the Terminator trials, or are we just gonna fucking plow forward?
Let's just plow forward into this fertile ground we call,
Yes.
Warzone Vanguard Season 4 Reloaded, which is where we. With that said, we talked about Titanium Trials, but after that, we hopped on to Rebirth. I guaranteed, I knew it was LG. I said, let's go on Rebirth. We'll get a win. What did we do? We got a win. It's just like clockwork. But that said, I feel like you've gotten a good taste of the buffet of the meta right now. And where are you at? What's the weekly update?
I guess okay, so you're setting this up for me like I know what the meta is. I will tell you what I'm running, but I'm not sure exactly what the meta is. My long range weapon right now is the KGM 40, which I really like. Friend of the pod, scared of clowns. Picked mine up off my dead body, as I said earlier in the podcast. When I wasn't ready for him to take it, he took it from me for the rest of the game. Probably why we lost. That's nor here nor there, but I just like to put that out on the airwaves. I love the KGM 40. It is very accurate, very powerful, and it's a amateur's friendly weapon, I would say. I've always, you always love to rank me. You always love to break me down and judge my rankings. Really, that's what it is you want me to rank something so you can judge me. And I've always loved the KGM 40. You know what? Put it in my top 3. I don't give a fuck. You want to put this in a ranking situation? The KGM 40 has always been fantastic to me. And right now, circumstance, serendipitously, it is the fucking meta, and I love it. So, bam, the KGM 40. I'm rolling with that. It's been doing very well for me. And then I paired it with a gun that I was, kind of singing the praises on last week. I'm not sure if it's still like my cup of tea. It seems to have a bit more recoil than I'm used to, but to be totally fair, it's not quite leveled up. I'm missing 1 or 2 attachments, and that is the old Armaguera, which I have been running with the KGM 40. I'm honestly, to point though, I saw a really tasty clip this week where Dr. Disrespect was rocking a sniper. Obviously, his sniping skills are unmatched, as he would say, but he looked like he was enjoying that sniper. I might have to figure out what he was running, what he was using, how to equip a new sniper loadout. But at the moment, I'm KGM 40 Armaguera, and I'm dipping my toes existentially, theoretically, mentally, maybe physically soon into a sniper loadout, but I still don't know what that is. That's where I'm at. Where are you at?
Wow. Well, for the sake of Titanium Trials, I wanted to use the 40 or whatever the fuck. But you'd be disappointed to know that I actually haven't leveled mine up quite beyond. I remember way back when I was unlocking the Vargo, I was using it a little passively in Plunder. I haven't really touched it. So rather than, put myself at a disadvantage, which, if you're an amateur, you're not going to fucking do that. So I pivoted over to the old STG, ran that in Iron Trials. I dig it. It was a good weapon. That 3 to 6x crucial on that. And then as my secondary, I think I was sticking with the ground loot. I was going ground loot. I think I was still running restock. But then speaking of, when we hop on to Rebirth, I'm still on the M13. And on these smaller maps like Rebirth and Fortune's Keep, the M13 is fucking more than viable right now. And it's so much fun.
Wow. So, okay, let me recap here. You ran through that quickly. You're still an SG44 guy.
G.
SGT44 guy.
TG.
SGT43 guy.
Okay. Yeah. Got me.
Okay. So you're still running that long range, but then so what are you pairing with the M13? Is that the situation in which you're getting the restock loadout, you're grabbing the M13, and you just happen to have a good ground loot weapon? Like, what is your thought process as you're grabbing your loadout? Do you have to have like an equipable SMG to run the M13? Because the M13 isn't a long, and again, correct me if I'm wrong here, but it's not, I wouldn't say like a long range weapon. Are you like looking for like a little PP that you want to play with? Are you looking like, what are you looking for that's going to pair well with that M13 loadout?
Well, you kind of blurring the lines there. 2 questions, 3, perhaps maybe 4 or beyond that in one. But first off is I ran the STG specifically because we were A, playing Iron, and B, we're on Caldera. I wanted to make sure I had the fully loaded, had the 50 round mag. The M13 just burns through shitloads of ammo, but you're right. It's not much of a long range. I think I run the 3X, the VLK. A lot of times I'll even run what was like the 2.5 or whatever was the Corporal Combat Hollow sight. So I would not recommend the M13 necessarily on Caldera, especially not for Iron Trials. But when it came to Rebirth, the size of that map and the typical like mid-range engagements,
Yeah,
M13 excels and fucking shreds right now. But your question about an SMG, I always have a fucking SMG, no matter, I'm an AR SMG, simple, peanut butter fucking jelly kind of guy. Give me the strawberry preserves, give me the fucking peanut butter with salt, the creamy shit, none of that other filler stuff. I'll put the pieces of bread together on it. I'll eat it. I'll enjoy it. That's me, AR, SMG, always. But I run restock, as I said last fucking week. So I just find a ground loot SMG always. And because the ground loot game on SMGs is pretty money right now.
all right, so let's tone back the aggression here and be realistic. So you're on the roof of prison on Rebirth, right? And let's say you're holding one of the sides of prison. Let's just say that you're opposite the headquarters tower. You're on that far side, and all of a sudden you're up there. You're holding prison roof, and then all of a sudden someone on the other side of prison just busted open those double doors, and they're fucking right over there, and they start fucking shooting you from that side. Are you telling me that the M13 from prison to prison, opposite ends, rooftop, the M13 is a viable weapon?
Yeah, I would. That kind of distance, it's going to be the same odds as if you had another AR essentially. Yeah, maybe you're not going to get the 6x zoom, but I don't really think you fucking need that on the roof of prison. If they are a far distance on, somewhere like prison and there's these structures and it's just their head peeking, well, the M13 has one of the best headshot multipliers in the game. So if you happen to land a few shots, it's going to help you out. So I'd say you're not maybe at any more of a disadvantage. Again, on a map like that, maybe there's times, far, you're trying to take pot shots down towards like chem or, bio from prison roof. Yeah, you're probably not going to be doing much. It's like pissing in the wind, but that's not the engagement you're going to really be having on Rebirth most of the time. So, you can find outliers there, Mr. fucking like Malcolm Gladwell.
Hey, I'm not trying to Gladwell this and like, be an outlier here. I'm trying to find examples in which the amateurs that listen to this can, actually apply the M13, because I know that it's not necessarily the longest range weapon, but I think it's a good exercise in I don't know, durability, distance, practicality of how far we can actually shoot this weapon. And I'm not again, I like the M13. It's not like the AK-47 Cold War, where all of it, where we were having like existential battles on like how, how good that weapon was. I like the M13. I'm a proponent of that weapon. So I'm just, asking as someone that uses it often. I'm asking someone that uses it often, how far can it go? So that's all that was.
All right. Well, I mean, this has been a spirited, I would say, question. Again, we want to hear from you all out there always. On our Discord, we've been hearing a lot about the meta, what people are enjoying, what they're not. That said, this is a live recording. We do have a live audience. Again, if you've been with us, we apologize for those early hiccups. Thanks for sticking with us. But I'm just now seeing there were some questions submitted so far. First off, actually, I would just say one question was submitted, and this one comes to a close friend, obviously, member of the Warzone Amateur Hour family, and that is Scared of Clowns. And he asks, this is to you, Cowboy, how many kills did Cowboy have in that Titanium Trials match?
Oh, that's a good, when you start getting into a very heated battle and honestly, just like ripping shots left and right, jumping off buildings, sniping, using the full repertoire. And, when you really get in it, you ascend from the amateur level to really you're really supporting the team there. So I would say anywhere, realistically, I'm going to be totally honest with everyone listening. It was probably at the end of the game, a 0 to like 22 kill situation, anywhere between that 0 to 22. And I honestly can't remember.
So if 0 is included in the equation, I'm inclined to, I can't remember specifically, but was it 0?
It was probably on the lower end of the spectrum I gave you, but again, how can you value team support? Sometimes it comes in many ways. Like I would like to think that a lot of the kills that my comrades got were on the back of me setting them up, as you typically do when I like to shred somebody and then like I'm down, and then before you res me, you like to kill them and then you get the kill. It was that kind of situation. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. But it was a great round. We got second place. What more can you ask for?
Oh, wow. Well, the joys here of live recording, again, this is our first ever live recording. We have a live studio audience here. I guess maybe not studio, but bless his heart. We got some clarity here. We got an answer. Scared of Clowns follows up by noting it was, in fact, 0 kills there for the old Titanium Cowboy. I guess he's maybe the Copper Cowboy there on Titanium Trial.
Yeah, 0, potato. Again, supporting the team, second place. We hadn't played Caldera in a while. I was really holding like a more of a general position, making sure that the infantry troops that were being sent into battle were all right from other opposing forces. So that's kind of where that was coming from. I was very I was like a radar situation, making sure that everybody was doing well, and we did very well. So I'd like to think that it was a big win for us as a team.
All right. Well, let's move on then. And again, we're open now for callers. If you're on the Riverside link we have on our Twitter, or I share it on Discord, there should be the option. We recommend using Chrome call in button to go ahead. It'll say start live call in. We'd love to hear from you. Again, though, if you want to submit here on the text chat, we got that as well. To everyone watching on YouTube Live, we love you all. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And to those of you listening on your podcast player on a Monday or whatever day it is, we fucking love you all. 90 episodes in, 10 shy of 100. But speaking of the future, where we're going, we've been looking forward to obviously Modern Warfare 2. That is the beacon on the horizon that we're getting closer to, but we want to get a closer look. It's a vague little outline right now. We want some fucking details. Am I right? Well, mark your little calendars. For September the 15th, they're calling it COD Next, an era-defining live stream franchise event. At this, on September 15th, we're going to get a full Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer reveal, info on the future of Warzone. And then, got to mention it because it's on here. They're going to talk about Warzone Mobile, and there's going to be some live gameplay from some of our favorite streamers. But that said, September 15 is just on the horizon, roughly a month away. How are you feeling about this news, Cowboy?
Again, as I've said before in this podcast, I'm not good at like thinking about the future more so. I am more like in the moment. What's happening now? I'm a nuts and bolts kind of guy. I'm not an umbrella 30,000 foot view situation kind of guy. I don't even know what this fucking means. You've been through iterations of Modern Warfare now. You've been through iterations of Call of Duty here. I don't know what this means. I'm waiting openly as a a ripe young man waiting to get told what to do from whomever will tell me what to do. And I'm excited about it. To be honest, I don't fucking know what it means. I'm a little overwhelmed, honestly. I fear change, I guess. I'm like
you sound yes. Take a deep breath. It's okay.
I'm like Garth in Wayne's World. I fear change, man. I fear change. So I don't know. I like to think that I found a very tiny, narrow lane in the Call of Duty Warzone that we know now, and this expansion scares me, man. I don't know what else to say. How do you feel about it?
You're in a forest. You're in a forest, okay? Heather is there.
Heather is there.
And you're very warm. Okay? Okay. Now let's breathe. Yes. So what this means is we've been theorizing, what is Modern Warfare going to be like? What's different? What is the future like? Again, we've said it fucking over and over. This is the foundation for the new Warzone. This is the fucking future of Call of Duty. This is like the engine, we're like going to a planet basically. So we're going to fucking find out, is this like, one full of shit or full of gold here? And so we're going to get our first look at multiplayer. We're going to see, like, is slide canceling in the game? What's the movement like? Are there new mechanics? What's the gun handle like? What's the recoil like? Get our eyes on some of these guns. What is new? What is the same? What is different? What is up? What is down? What the fuck is going on? That's what's going to be happening here on September 15th, in other words there, Cowboy.
So, again, for those of the listeners that weren't necessarily paying attention all that closely, on September 15th, what actually happens?
Full Modern Warfare 2 reveal, multiplayer. Oh. So they'll probably have a bunch of streamers play a fucking round, and we get to watch.
So it's not like one of those like beta teasers where we see like a little bit of gameplay and it's all like scripted. Are we talking about like people actually in the shit playing the game?
I have a feeling that's it. I think they're finally pulling the lid off. I mean, the game comes out in October when we're talking September 15th.
So yeah, it's got to be there. It's got to be ready almost, yeah.
The curtain's coming down. We're getting a glance behind it, what's going on. But beta, when are we going to get our fucking hands on this game? I think that's the real question. Well, what's pretty cool about this is September 15th, you're going to whet your appetite. You're going to get immersed in what it is, and what are you going to want to do when you fucking see that? You're going to want to jump in yourself and get deep into the shit like you just said. Well, guess what? The PlayStation exclusive beta is going to be going live, confirmed the date after that on September 16th. That's going to run through the 20th. So if you have a PlayStation, you've pre-ordered the game, you will have access to that. The crossplay beta starts 2 days after the end of that, from September 22nd to the 26th. So that is the beta dates. By the end of the beta run there, it will be essentially a month until the game comes out. So again, like, we've been waiting, and finally the floodgates are opening here. So open up wide, buddy boy. It's going to wash all over.
Oh, I mean, the words you're using, wide, deep, and wet, I'm ready for anything. Yes, let's get it going. Now that you explain it that way to me, I am so excited to just really be vulnerable to a new game, I guess you could say. I think at the beginning of this discussion, I was reluctant to the vulnerability, but now I'm feeling very vulnerable, and I'm ready for something new.
All right, well, I'm glad I know what it takes now to get you hyped up. And that for our news and all of that. But before we move on to hopefully maybe getting a fucking live call in here or two, I think it's time to share a word from our sponsors. Imagine the music, because it's not fucking working. All right. Well, yes, this is a product here. We've talked about many weeks now. You can use it every single day. It's going to help your gut health, give you more, optimize your immune system, and not have you take all those vitamins and minerals and pills and whatever else you're putting in your body. You don't need that anymore. If you get AG1 Athletic Greens, their marquee product here, you're going to be absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to help you start your day right.
Yeah, actually got a little case example here. A friend of the pod, Scared of Clowns, had Giardia recently, and he was going through the ringer with horrible stomach pains, really having a hard time. And he actually had been, friend of the pod listing. He had signed up for Athletic Greens, started taking Athletic Greens, and I know that I wouldn't say that it cured it, but he had a much better time dealing with Giardia, Scared of Clowns, after he had been taking the AG formula. And I'm not saying that's not an endorsement, that it's any kind of medical, I don't want to, I'm not trying to, I mean, I am a lawyer, as we like to say, but I'm not technically a lawyer. So we're just going to say that, like, listen, it is so good for your stomach, and we'll leave it at that. It really actually helps you. And especially someone that sits at his fucking computer all day long, or his console playing these games, you're stuck in the same position. It's sometimes you forget about your health. And these are the little things that you can do, easy, simple little things you can do to help yourself.
That's absolutely right. And if you're interested in checking it out, getting your hands on some Athletic Green product, first off, you're going to want to go to athleticgreens.com. But don't just type that in and go there. Make sure you go to athleticgreens.com/emerging. Again, use that link, athleticgreens.com/emerging. And that is going to go ahead and give you 1 year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Again, athleticgreens.com/.
Do the right thing for your body, people. Make it happen.
All right. It looks like before we get on to our next ad, we have a caller here, friend of the podcast here. Let's go ahead, cue him in. One moment here. We're connecting. Can you hear us there, caller?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're on camera, actually.
Yeah, it made me do that. So you get to see me. Can you see me?
I think
you're
we
on
can
the
see
air.
you. Oh, wow.
Warzone Amateur
Wow.
Hour Podcast.
There he is.
You have a question here for Tron the Cowboy.
Yeah, so what's up with, like, I mean, my question is about Warzone 2, and if we're going to continue to see of the player base, compared to when Warzone launched in 2020 March, which was like the perfect kind of storm. So when this one launches, are people going to come back? Because every time they've tried to do something, I swear that it's never worked. Like the new map, like, maybe some people come back, but it's like just it's just a bunch of sweat lords.
Yeah.
So what happens? Like when Modern Warfare 2 comes out, maybe it's cool, or whatever, but like, is this going to be the thing that like brings everybody back like it did when original Warzone came out? And there was a game prior to that, which was what was it, Blackout, or
that's
or
correct.
whatever.
Yeah, Call of Duty Blackout.
Like everybody moved from Blackout to this, and I hear streamers talking about how like arguing over it. Blackout was better, blah blah blah. Like, they talk about Caldera versus Verdansk, and like, oh, I like the POIs in Verdansk or whatever. And it's like, I just, the player base has been dropping off. Like if Warzone 2 isn't like, like some really new, thing that really like, brings people in. Like, I just worry that it's like, it's just kind of a dying game or something. Like, it kind of worries me because I want people to play it.
It worries us too, Speed. It worries us too. Tron, I'll let you attack that from the front. I'll take it from the backside.
Wow. Well, first off, thank you so much for taking the time to call in. I'm going to go ahead and remove you here, but stay on the line and we'll upload that included on our final copy. We love you. That said, it's a broad question. It's an existential question here that we have been posed by Smeeden, which is one I think maybe haunts me, excites me, frightens me, all the emotions it brings out to me, which is like, are they going to deliver? Will Warzone ever be like it was? Which I don't know if I can answer that. I obviously, part of me like hopes maybe, it could somehow be better in terms of, we romanticize the pandemic era of Warzone. Obviously, that was an amazing time. Anytime when you can go on an online game and your friends list is filled up and you like have to make tough decisions about who you're playing with, that's a blessed time. So like, I don't know if we'll ever get back to that, but I think nostalgia, a lot of the fucking frustration, like the game had a lot of fucking issues early on. I mean, the amount of cheaters like we would run into, there's just so many things we can go to that have been improved that I think we take for granted. So on one hand, I feel like Warzone 2, like maybe, you know, we look at Blackout as that was like the first rough draft of Warzone. Well, maybe Warzone 1 was the rough draft of Warzone 2, and Warzone 2 is going to come out and be like that much more polished and blow us away. Obviously, we got to hope so for our brand purposes, but that's the front side here for Tron. Let's go have you go ahead, attack that backside.
Oh yeah. So I think I'll take the optimistic point of view here. I like to think that at the height, you know, we talked about numbers the other week where there was, I think it was 150 million or something, and now it's at 90 million. I'm not exactly sure what those numbers were, but at the end of the day, so many people that were tickled, fondled, had a good time with the Warzone. You know what I mean? A lot of people I think that weren't necessarily like myself. I mean, truly like myself that had never really played video games before. Fuck, I fucking co-host a podcast now on this goddamn game. Like there were a lot of people out there that obviously don't have like the, not only raw natural talent and ability that I do being a new gamer, but in not just like, I mean, obviously the voice and like the incredible like podcasting skills, but just like, you know, hardworking, blue collar, hard workers out there that are playing this game. And they were tickled deeply, very deeply tickled. You know, maybe they got turned off in the last year or 6 months. I would say probably more so 6 to 8 months. You know, we've seen numbers drop playing the game. 150 million, now 90 million. I think that from the optimistic perspective, and I think that this is probably what the brass at Activision, the people that should be hiring us and paying us to do whatever it is that they need from us, I think that they realize that echo chamber, that fucking cauldron of joy is there. People have dipped their toes in the cauldron. They're ready to come back. And I think that it's only if they deliver. If this game is something that when we first play it and we're saying, holy shit, it's back. This is something that everybody needs to try. If you ever had joy in Warzone, you got to come back and play this. I think that the like word to word, you know, that grassroots discussion really means a lot for this game. And I feel like that's what was really the I mean, circumstance was different when it first started, but that can still be had, maybe not to the extent because of obviously a completely different background and context now with like just the way the world is going. But people got the taste of it. It can come back. I am going to take the optimistic, positive perspective on this. I really think that it could come back. And I think that it just depends on how it is delivered. How good is the game going to be? Because if it's a fucking 12 out of 10, I guarantee you the numbers will come back. At least for a little bit. It might not be forever, and there's always going to be faults with the game, but I do think it'll come back. So to answer your question, Speeden, yeah, it may be gloomy right now. You know, we all live by the beach here. Maybe there's a little bit of marine layer, but I think the sun it's up to the sun right now. Is the sun going to break through and create a nice, beautiful August sunny day? I don't know. It's up to the sun.
Wow. Eloquent, artistic answer there. Optimistic as well. And I'm right there with you. You know, we're rooting for it. September 15th, that's when we're going to get a peek at this game. I know when the teaser was going live, we kind of built it up like that was when we were going to get the answers about the questions you just thought, like, is it going to deliver? How does it look? What are the thoughts? I think now this September 15th, that reveal, that's really when we're going to get that taste. But that said, only time will tell, Smeeden. Existential crisis in the meantime. Enjoy what we have. Hope for the best. Prepare for the worst. But that said, we did need to give some time here before answering. I see your question, sub 1 KD. So please hold tight because we need to have a final word from our final sponsor this week. So if you haven't already heard, it's Smooth Sack States. And when you're playing in the summer, son, you better make damn sure that you're scaped from pubes to bum. That's right. This is the summer to keep your balls cool while still looking hot with none other than Manscaped, the leader in below-the-belt grooming. They're going to be making sure we all have a ball this summer by giving our pants partners everything they need to stay fresh, dive headfirst into Smooth Sack Summer by doing what? By going to manscaped.com and by using the damn code WAH as in Warzone Amateur Hour.
Did you say it was the beginning of that read? Was that from balls to bum?
Yes, indeed. Scaped from pubes to bum.
From pubes to bum. Okay, so I mean, that's painting an image. We just had Smeeden on the line, and I'm thinking about a very hairy man, and I guess some people need that. And hey, if you're one of those guys like Smeeden that really needs that deep coverage past the old sackaroo, maybe I guess I think that there's no better company to provide that. I a little thrown, obviously. I got a very interesting image in my mind, so I'm going to pass it back to you, Tron.
Wow. Well, yes. If you're looking to see what do I purchase, what can I do to keep myself ready for Smooth Sack Summer, get a hold of the Manscaped Performance Package. It's going to give you everything you need. Lawnmower. We've talked about the Weed Whacker, the Boxers, the Crop Preserver, the Crop Deodorant, all that good stuff. Check it out. Use that code at manscaped.com, WAH. It's going to give you 20% off and free shipping. So thank you all for who've done that. Check it out. Get right for the summer or whatever season you're in.
Yeah. Don't wait. Shave it down.
All right. And the rest of this is dedicated to open call-ins. We have nothing else here on the agenda. We got one here. We're going to go ahead and answer it. It's from a loyal friend of the podcast and a Discord user here, Sub1KD, adding you in here, sir. Oh, there we go. Look at that. He's got a mic set up and everything.
Wow.
We freaking appreciate that. The floor is yours, sir.
Oh, thank you. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Been waiting my entire life.
You sound better than we, dude. You sound great.
Oh, thank you. Been waiting my whole life to use that phrase and have it actually mean something. I had a question coming up with this new Modern Warfare 2 launch. Was wondering if you guys had taken a look at that DMZ mode, the so-called rumored DMZ mode, and if you had any thoughts on it, and maybe if you had thoughts on branching into that.
Were there like any new reveals lately? I know I've seen some basics, but nothing super specific lately.
I mean, I think all I've heard is the same everybody else has. It's an escape from Tarkov. You drop into essentially the Warzone 2 map and loot your mind out and try and get out in one piece, which to me sounds kind of wild.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you. We love the question. We're going to answer it here. Again, hold on. Your file will be uploaded so we can make sure all this is included in the final product here. Oh my God, I almost clicked the wrong button. So bear. So yes, DMZ mode. I'll go ahead and start off because I know those words and things he doesn't understand can often frighten the cowboy.
Yes.
He can freeze up. You heard him fucking earlier.
Yes.
I don't even know what we were talking about, but probably needs therapy from that. DMZ mode, I mean, I didn't hear the idea that you'd be dropped into the Warzone 2 map. To me, that's the big question is like, what's the map situation going to be like? Never played Escape from Tarkov, but I don't know because I feel like on one hand, playing Titanium Trials, that feels like it's the opposite direction of a DMZ mode because you have such a slow TTK. It's forgiving. You put so many bullets into someone, whereas like a game like Escape from Tarkov feels like it's more like a PUBG or like, Counter-Strike type of TTK situation where you fucking get shot in the face, you're dead, one bullet, like it doesn't matter. So people are playing way slower, way creepier, way sweatier, way slinkier, way rattier, which part of that appeals to me too. So I'm all for it, and I think I've even said before, like, if anything, it might just get some sweat lords off of the game mode I end up liking if I don't like that. So I'm intrigued by it. I definitely want to know more, and I'm curious how it all kind of would intertwine with Warzone, because it sounds like it would be it. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question here. So the DMZ mode, we have an extraction situation, right? And from my understanding, which I'm trying to recollect, is that you are holding a certain area, and then if you hold it long enough, you are extracted. Like, I'm not sure exactly what that means when everyone refers to Escape from Tarkov. what is the essence there? Is it you're getting loot from holding an area? Because that would be similar to the zombies mode that's happening right now on Fortune's Keep. But is it that you actually win the game by holding an area?
I don't know if it's holding an area. And I should probably fucking like watch a few games of this or understand it, but I think it's exfilling. So I think you either have to get to a certain spot or complete a certain amount of things or maybe loot a certain amount. I don't know if it's necessarily just like hanging out in an area. I think it's more either getting to a destination or something like that, or acquiring something. So
are we talking about maybe a situation in which it's a battle royale, but you get higher loot if you hold certain areas? Best one to hold that area, obviously, then you're the last one to survive. It's very battle royale vibes.
Yeah, but
So
there's
I'm
no
just-
like gas, I don't believe. Maybe not.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well that's a totally different situation. I didn't realize that. Either way, I like the addition of a different gameplay mode. Obviously, it's a variety, and I think that it adds to. But then, yeah, I guess the other thing is that this conversation becomes much more complex and dynamic when we know the map. You know, like if they did an extraction win situation on Fortune's Keep, if they did that on Rebirth, if they did that on Caldera, very different discussions broadly, you know? So it's a tough thing to talk about right now. Like what does it look like? It's hard to even say.
Yeah, and it wasn't alluded to in the stuff about, September 15th. And so maybe that's something they throw in there, that they're really keeping it under wraps. But I'm with Sub 1KD. I'm eager to know some answers, get some info. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of different new mechanics if it is a new game mode. So there's, again, so many questions, which it's going to bleed into Warzone 2, I think, one way or the other. So really curious. It sounds like they had to have put a shitload of time into that to make this happen. But again, they're like keeping it under right now. I can't really recall something that was like so secretive, but also sounds like it's going to be a pretty big chess piece coming on to play here. So yet to see, a month to go till COD Next. I actually tweeted at the folks who helped organize that, trying to get the Warzone Amateur Hour in person. We're local to Los Angeles. That's where it's going to be held. I said, let us come. We fucking represent the managers. And they said, let us see your fucking numbers. What do you guys like? So if you all out there are listening, you want to, help us get a chance to maybe be involved in some of these Call of Duty events in person, IRL, the best thing you can do is to share, grow our listenership, maybe go log on a lot of different devices and do it that way. I don't know. Don't do anything illegal, but, as far as I know, nobody's got to know. Or also just tell people and maybe they'll like it, right?
100%. We are open for any type of payment or exploitation. We will loiter. We do not care. But I just want to point out that Sub 1KD had a phenomenal microphone setup, and as people that make content, dude, respect. That was it doesn't get a lot better than that. That was great.
Yeah, I mean, since our opening episode, we're ones who celebrate production value. So to have that brought here on our first call,
Respect.
and I
Respect.
certainly appreciate that. And I think it'll pay dividends in the final product here.
Yeah.
But we're going to go ahead, leave the lines open here for one more moment, or, the chat line, I should say. If there's any text questions, final questions here on our first ever call-in episode 90 here, midway, it feels like almost, through season 4. Vanguard Reloaded, Titanium Trials Week, a month to go till we fucking learn about it, and then a little day or two after that we get the beta, which I think I'm ready to shell out the $70 so I can get the beta and hop in there. And you can be asking me questions about it.
Wow, it must be nice to make that podcast money.
Whew, oh man, it's not quite lucrative, but yeah, we're for any submission.
It looks like we have a couple. I see. No.
I'm not seeing the green call-in button, and I don't see a text question here yet, but we're going to stand by. Again, this is a learning curve here. We're not pros when it comes to this aspect of the broadcasting thing.
Yeah, we're not used to obviously filling dead air here because I'm one of the guys, I'm just shooting from the hip here, but I think we're going to take a moment, fill some dead air as I just talk about anything really and kind of think about like what we're going to do when someone calls in. And I'm imagining that Tron right now is trying to figure out on the back end what is going on. I see that we're getting some text messages from people that want to call in. So I'm just really filling dead air here, talking about
maybe some call to actions here, like, subscribe, leave us a review, right?
those are good. Yeah, I would like we have a YouTube.
Oh, look at this. We have a caller here. It's going to be our final call. The man himself who submitted a question here, going to grace the airwaves with his voice. Scared of clowns here. Welcome to the Warzone Amateur Hour Podcast, Scared of Clowns. You are on the air. You're going to hear your next question.
Mic check. Is this working?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Decent.
Okay. First, Cowboy, thank you for turning me on to Athletic Greens after your bout with dysentery. I'm glad to hear it worked out.
It did.
My question is, I know you both gave a lot of grief to the storytelling aspect of the Stitch versus Adler saga.
That's right.
But with the new Caldera, we've been bouncing back and forth between, I guess, pay to play storylines with King Kong versus Godzilla and Terminator. So I guess my question is, do you miss the storylines, even though they may have been absurd? And if you could write a storyline for this new map, what would it be?
Wow.
Probably.
Great question.
All right. Again, hold. I'm going to read your file. Incredible question. Sounds like Cowboy's eager to get to it. So the floor is yours there, Cowboy.
I'll start with the first question. Great question for Giardia Clowns. I would say that the first question would be, do we miss the storylines? And I mean, we're in the midst of one right now at Terminator. We have a whole new game mode, which I think is fantastic. And it kind of makes sense, right? Terminator, you have higher TTK. This guy can, you're taking more damage, very similar to whatever.
I don't. You're blurring the lines here. We're talking a cinematic universe. We're talking the fucking through line characters.
Wait a second. Wait a fucking second.
Okay.
Wait 1 second. Let's call back to a few episodes, maybe more than a few episodes ago, when we actually got the news that Terminator was happening. You and I were riffing on what are the log. Can you get the skins? Does Arnold say "Hasta la vista"? Does he have the shotgun? Remember all the amazing shit we were coming up with? Did any of that come to fruition or not?
Well, I mean, there's no sawed-off shotgun. There's no motorcycle. I do think there's a skin where his underbody, cybernetic underbody is exposed. I don't think it's a dynamic thing where it dynamically is revealed by attacking him, but there are a number of skins available in the Warzone. So, but beyond that, not a ton of integration, no cut either. So the question we were posed was about the cinematic storyline here.
Yes. And what would we like to see? If we could choose an integration, what would we want to see? Because I got a really obscure one for that, but let's answer your question first.
Well, I mean, to go back, do I miss Stitch and Adler? It's kind of a shame because the Vanguard storyline felt like it was off to a good start. We were getting Maddox. The story was moving along. I was fucking following it, but it seems like it just fell off. The development team, maybe they got those guys doing the new cutscenes, or I don't know. Because I'm kind of don't remember the last bit of the storyline. I remember there was a crashed plane and two sides of people were fighting. Still confused. So somehow they've taken something so simple and still managed to make it confusing. I don't think it's that fucking hard to give us some sort of story. So I don't know if I necessarily miss Stitch and that. They gave us a beginning, a middle, and end, by all means extremely nonsensical and ridiculous. And remember the final scene in the graveyard or whatever, or in the mountains of Verdansk. So I don't know if I miss it, but I guess we could have used a little more personal touch here with what's going on. But in terms of the final question, like what would I want for the new game? I mean, it's going to focus around Soap and Price and all these modern warfare dudes. And I know they're going to probably go back to the same formula. There's some fucking warlord overseas who's trying to get a nuke to murder the world. So I think if they could somehow wrinkle it up a little, like maybe make the United States a little bad, or like some espionage shit. Like the most recent Mission Impossible, I thought got a cool job of like setting it up to be not what you've seen before, like double crosses and shit. Kill off one of these guys. I'm all about that, Game of Thrones style shit. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Hire us. I'll flesh
Wait
it
a
out.
second.
I'll give you an
just said
outline.
a massive keyword there, and I'm going to throw that out there that I wasn't thinking about before. Game of Thrones integration, just putting it out there. That would be pretty radical.
No, it was more inspiration. But yeah, please go ahead. We have an important caller here calling in, but please finish.
Well, I was just going to say Tom Hanks, Saving Private Ryan, incredible character. Let's take the call.
Call here. Someone from you might recognize, I'm imagining, which is the Lady 10-inch Cow Girl. Which let's go ahead, cue her in here. You are on the air, Cowgirl. What is your question? Thanks for calling in, and thanks for putting up for this son of a bitch for so long.
I'm just so excited to finally be on the air with y'all. I've been begging the 10-inch Cowboy to let me do a cameo with y'all, so I'm putting matters in my own hand and calling in.
Did you have a question, Cowgirl?
No, I just wanted to call in and say hi.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Well,
How's it going?
thank you. It's going good, babe. Thank you.
No, well, it's time to come home.
Yeah, we love you. We're riding off into the sunset. Please stay on the line. It's going to upload this track. We love you calling in. We love all you fellow significant others out there, female audience members. Shout out to the Lady Tron here. I'm not sure if she set up an interview of sorts with our significant others, give the flip side of the coin of the degenerates playing Warzone at home equation. But pretty special moment there. The Lady 10-inch Cowboy on the mic. How you feeling about this live call-in show here on the tail end here?
I know what's going to happen. She's going to want to be on the show more. She's got that taste for entertainment and excitement, and we just opened Pandora's box.
It certainly couldn't hurt our... And again, we want to get into the Warzone community. We need to reach further demographics, expand our reach. So I'm all for it.
Yeah. We'll see.
All right. Well, that said, that is going to do it for us this week on the Warzone Amateur Hour Podcast. Can you hear the fucking music now, Cowboy?
I do. It sounds good.
Oh, yeah. Well, shit. We maybe don't start off the best, but here in the amateur, we can fucking finish or run up to a guy without any ammo and try and hit him with our gun and die. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling the Cowgirl wanted to say something else to me. I think she had something to say, and we cut her off. You hung up on her too quick, so I'm gonna go deal with those repercussions.
Oh fuck! Well, I apologize if that's the case. We apologize for the hiccups early on in the episode, but thank you all so much who called for listening. Get ready for September 15th for Modern Warfare 2, for Warzone 2, for this episode to come at you live on a Monday morning. We will talk to you next week and have more of these in the future. So as always, my friends, until then,
good luck in the gulag.